today's video, we're going to talk about a different perspectives to playing solos, and it has a lot to do with what the rhythm section is playing. We're going to get right into it right after this. Hello, my name is David Wallerman. Welcome to this channel, which is all about helping guitar players around the world find their voice on the instrument, the guitar, to tell their own musical story. We're going to talk about improvisation, but we're not going to talk about scale positions per se. Here's what happens. Typically, when someone has to improvise, they need to understand the key of the song. In this case, the backing track we're going to use is an F-sharp Lydian. You can get this backing track and the charts for free in the description of this video, but it's F-sharp Lydian. And so a player might be thinking, all right, all I need to do is memorize an F-sharp Lydian position. And sorry, I'm switching here. Here it is. We might have a position 3 note per string, something like that, and just listen to the track and just go for it. That sounds fine, but what happens if I stop the backing track? Well, it's just a lot of notes, right? And without the backing track, you don't really know what I'm playing over. There is a different way that, if done properly, is going to sound a lot more melodic. And this is regardless of the genre that you're using. This requires knowing the chords you're playing over. So this backing track is pretty simple. We have really 3 chords. Let's listen to these chords. The first one is an F-sharp major, followed by a G-sharp major. Now the bass stays in F-sharp, but that doesn't matter. The gist of the chord is you've got 2 triads. Okay, so the first one, F-sharp. The second one is G-sharp. So far, right? Easy. Now I can't use my full scale, but that full scale is going to be attracted to these 2 triads. Here's another triad. We have D sharp minor, and then back to F sharp. That's for the second part of the track. D sharp and F sharp. And then it just rotates back to the beginning. F sharp major, and so forth. So just 3 chords. These 3 chords are extracted from that F sharp Lydian scale, mode, alphabet, whatever you want to call it, right? The 7 notes. We can extract from these 7 notes these triads, these chords that we played with. Now, the idea here is, instead of thinking of the full scale, think of the chords that you're playing over. And the more chord shapes, the more arpeggios you know, the better. The more you're going to be able to expand. But for now, let's consider these different chord shapes. I've got this first triad, F sharp major, and that slice of the fretboard. So I'm using, I could even use a full chord if I want, something like this. You know, the F position that you move to the F sharp, the bar chord, and then you've got G sharp, same exact position, but on the 4th string. These 2 chords are going to be heard in the first section of the solo. Now, if we blend this with the full scale, F sharp Lydian, and we can use a 3 note per string or the cage system, it doesn't matter. As long as you're aware of where the notes of the chord that you're playing over are, you're going to be able to use these as kind of skeletons, and that's going to direct your lead. And the idea is to play your lead thinking of these chord changes so that the listener can hear the chord changes without having to hear the backing track here. So we're going to try this. Let's, I'm going to visualize this F sharp followed by this G sharp and try to make that sound like the chords are there without having the chords. You should be hearing this in the back. And by doing this, that engages your mind into what you're playing. It might slow your delivery down, but that's okay because you have more time to put a thought behind it, and your lead is going to sound a little more coherent, simpler, but that's a good thing because the listener will remember what you're playing. And then you do this through the chords as you go through them. At some point we have that D sharp minor. We're going to aim for that, and you can make some parallels. You know, for example, that, okay, I've got a D sharp minor on a minor chord. I could play minor pentatonic, and that's kind of what I did. I've got my D sharp. D sharp is found on the 11th fret. I could just go with a minor pentatonic lick, and it will work. So I'm gonna try to talk you through what I'm doing over this track as I improvise, trying to give you a glance of what's going on in my mind. Here's the G sharp, F sharp. I'm going to play notes of F sharp, G sharp. That's a perfectly acceptable lick. I'm visualizing that chord. Here's the D sharp minor pentatonic. F sharp, back to minor pentatonic, back to the beginning, G sharp, Now, when you're doing this kind of work, it's very demanding mentally. And we've talked about this before. It's one part of your brain is really engaged, and it's depleting itself of energy. So to recharge, you're going to go with the automatic licks that you have, giving your mind a chance to recharge, and then going back to more focused. Okay, my brain is lacking energy now. Concentration. I'm going to recharge. It doesn't take much to recharge, and hopefully you know what I mean by recharging. Those quote-unquote impressive licks, the faster licks, give your brain, your mental, an opportunity to recharge, because as you're playing this fast kind of thing, only the fingers are engaged. I don't have to focus mentally on it because those are licks and things that you've worked on before. Okay, so what do you take out of this? Well, think of the chords and target those tones in the chord. This was in F sharp Lydian, but you can do this with anything. I might be able to, I'm going to switch to a clean tone here. You could do this with things like the blues. Let's do a blues in A, for example. I've got my A7, D7, and E7. I'm going to target those tones, and you should be able to hear the chord progression. So hopefully you heard that chord progression. That's the idea that I have for you. So see, you can work on this without a backing track too. It will work. Download the backing track, the charts below. On the charts, you're gonna find the full Lydian mode, and you're gonna find some colored notes. And the colored notes, the darker notes, are the notes of the chord shapes that you can use to kind of target those certain tones to sound more melodic and more memorable. And if this was your first visit, thank you for stopping by. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, a new video like this one comes out, helping guitar players around the world find their voice on the guitar to tell their own musical personality. So subscribe below, hit the bell icon, and download the charts and the backing track. Thank you for watching this video. I'll see you very soon on the channel. Until then, practice well.